Mark Royce, you've had the Bolt out now for about 4 or 5 years, 2016, I think. Now you're bringing out a new version. Why of the Bolt and why now?
Well, David, we've sold over 100,000 bolts, and it's been a great product for our customers. And it is the most loyal customer base in Chevrolet. So we really hit a sweet spot with the car. And when you go back and ask the customers what do they want, there's people that love the car as it is, but there's also people that would love to have more space and more room. And so the Bolt EUV will have, there's 6 inches here to its length, and 3 of that will be in the knee room in the second row. But then we'll also have a nice cargo utility addition that people can use. So the car gets more usable. It's there's more utility to it, if you will. And if you think back with the Buick Encore, we really sort of invented that small compact SUV space when no one else was in it and no one thought that would be a popular high volume vehicle. And of course it is. It's wildly successful for Buick. So when we look at that and we think about that type of size for people, we know there's a lot of people that would love that size. The affordability of this, we're thousands of dollars less than the vehicle it replaces. So we're in the high 31s to start for the regular Bolt, and then the Bolt EUV will be at 33.9, and so that'll be price points right down Main Street in the heart of the market. And for a lot of people, and a lot of the offerings today, electric vehicles are very expensive. So we, as a company, are high volume. We've got a lot of different brands, a lot of different segments. So I think people look to GM for that really accessible vehicle, and I think a lot of people want to drive EVs, but for lots of different reasons haven't been able to. So it becomes a great primary car choice.
It does strike me that most of the time when you bring out a new model, you don't cut the price. You actually increase the price, and you took something like $5,000 off the price. Talk about that target audience. What is the ideal customer for you?
It's we've partnered with Disney for this introduction, which I think Disney has, if you think about it, lots of families, lots of people love to go there, their whole lives, and so that family value and the utility of the vehicle, and uniquely American. We make it right here in Michigan, and I think all of those things and those price points are reflective of families that really use their vehicles. And so I think Chevrolet is right in the heart of that, and I think the Bolt is as well. And those price points are pretty average vehicle prices, and you get a lot of vehicle for the money. The Bolt EUV will have Super Cruise in it, which we debuted on the Cadillacs, and then we're rolling it through the rest of the GM lineup. But the Bolt will be, the first Chevrolet certainly to have it, but also the first non-Cadillac to have it. So we're very excited about that. And those features are the most high-tech vehicle features in market. And here you can buy it on Bolt and drive an electric car that has all that on it. So we're very excited about being able to provide that to people and families.
President Biden is a customer. I mean, he's come out and said he wants to have the government buy a lot of electric vehicles fairly quickly to create a lot of jobs. Is this the sort of thing that could be a government vehicle?
It absolutely could be. In fact, it already is. We sell into the fleets of police forces in quite a few different cities along both coastlines, and they use them for police vehicles. They use them for all kinds of park patrols. So yeah, absolutely done. And we look forward to an opportunity to do that, because I think, the little bit bigger size on the EUV will be very attractive. And also, the regular Bolt as it is already attractive to those folks as well. So anything that has a zero carbon footprint and, has a lot of technology and safety in it, I think will be very attractive for anybody that works in government and around government.
Your CEO, Mary Barra, has set a pretty ambitious goal of basically having all vehicles be emissions-free 2035. Take us out toward 2035 at least. What role will the Bolt EUV play in that in terms of volume?
Well, you never know what exactly the volume is going to be, and I think we've grown it. In fact, last year we sold 26,000 bolts. So this has continually grown over the last few years. And so I think it's, with the addition of the EUV, that volume is going to get even higher. And, I think, the carbon footprint is really important that you mentioned. That's not only for our cars, but also for our plants and our facilities. So, we're really looking to move this to a zero impact business, which we think we can do. And the Bolt is a very, very big part of that because, yes, we're doing Hummers, we're doing Cadillac Lyrics, we're going to do, lots of different segments of vehicles, but, the Chevrolet high volume right down the center of the segment and market is an extremely important piece of that when you look at our whole carbon footprint. So yeah, it's a vital part of it, David.
When you talk about the Cadillacs and the Hummers, that's a higher price point than what you described for the Bolt. Can you make money on the Bolt and the Bolt EUV? Because at least for the first few years, as I understand it, you were actually losing money on each vehicle.
We were, and if you look at where we're headed with Ultium, and as the Bolt is produced today, it's a lot cheaper than it was the first vehicles that we made when the Bolt first came out. Obviously, we've done a lot of things with commercialization of that and manufacturing, and you have to somewhere. But I think we can, and I think as we move into the Ultium cells and we move into the full-blown dedicated platforms of EVs for GM, we certainly will be. And if you look at where we start Ultium, we'll be about 40% less than on Cadillac and Hummer. We'll start at about 40% less than what the Bolt's original batteries and packs cost when we introduced the Bolt. If you look a few years out, we'll get to about 60% less. So that's a big number, and I think that's the key around cell costs and energy density. As we begin to multiply that energy density and move the cost down on the cells, is why we're actually into the chemistry and cell business ourselves, and we're not relying solely on other people to do that. We have a great joint venture with LG down in Ohio. We're getting ready to produce those batteries in Lordstown, Ohio for Ultium, and I think that's going to be a huge win for us, and it's not that far away either. And then the packs, will make a lot of the packs in Brownstown, Michigan as well. So lots of great things coming, and we're vertically integrating almost all of the pieces of an electric vehicle, just like we did with our internal combustion engines.
So Mark, I think of you as a production guy, and I mean that in the best possible sense. I say that with great respect. As a production guy, you got to think about what your inputs are, and you're going to have enough of them as you get up to scale. And I want to ask you about two things: chips, because there's a lot of talk right now about a shortage of microchips. Is that a possible limiting factor for you? And the other is some of the things that go into those batteries. Are you worried about supply chains? Can you get the rare earths and things like that you need to put in to something like the Bolt?
Sure. On the chip piece of it first, that was the first part of your question. On the chip piece of this, I think the pandemic really didn't help a lot of our chip suppliers who do a great job in normal conditions, and they run right to our supply and forecasts and our scheduling. And when the pandemic hit, and we brought, the whole industry brought all the factories down, a lot of that supply was still going into, was shifted, frankly, probably into the consumer electronics piece of that. And the thought was that the auto industry isn't going to maybe recover as fast as some of the other industries. So, I think that, and it takes a while to grow, and do the silicon chips themselves. So once the industry came back faster than a lot of other people, a lot of other industries thought that would, we got a hole. And so we got to work through the hole. It's not a long-term supply issue that we can see. And so I think that's really that's how you have to think about that, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. The other piece of it, on the precious metal piece of it, we use a ton of precious metals in our, catalytic converters and other anti-pollution devices that are inside, the internal combustion engine powertrains and drivelines of our vehicles in the industry. And so we are using those today, and they're expensive because they're countermeasures at the end of the day. If you look at what you're really talking about is the anode and cathodes, and the mixture and the composition of those in our cells over a long period of time. And I can tell you, if you own your own chemistry and you're making those anodes and cathodes your own, you can really do a substantial amount of R&D to eliminate those. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But those materials that are used today won't be the materials that we use tomorrow.